All right, here's the watch list for Friday. I've never traded this BSPM BioStar Pharmaceuticals, but almost 4 million shares out of the blue today, and it went up over $1.80. Ended up closing around $1.50. There's kind of an intraday look, so you had the early pop, and then it kind of tailed off most of the day, but started to catch a little bit of a bid near the end of the day. So this one is, it's a good candidate for a potential upside move tomorrow. I mean, I don't like that it gave all that back, but I think it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart, so I will. AXN, I got to get used to these new charts, so bear with me a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to do everything. AXN is still, in a pretty tight range here. And so I like it over this over this 3-day high. I don't like to leave those lines on my charts if I don't have to. So anyway, and if we go to an intraday, kind of had some big volume right here in the middle of the day. I don't know what that was, but it took it all the way up through to 205-ish, I think. So maybe that means something. We'll see. All right, so that's AXN. Loco. I drew kind of a resistance line there. Gapped up here on earnings, and it's really just been in a range. Well, it closed today pretty much at the highs of that range. So on a little bit of increasing volume over the last couple days. So looks like 28.37 was the high. You get above that with any kind of volume, and it's pretty interesting. I'll kind of write down in my notes 28.42. All right, W kind of still flagging, but started to kind of break the flag today. W's high 34.74. I'll put in my notes 34.75. Now these numbers aren't if it hits 34.75 doesn't mean it's going to rip or anything like that. Here it is on a 5-minute basis. Let's go to 15s. I mean, it doesn't look bad here. I like it over this 34.80 area with some volume. You might take off. Incidentally, this is a newer version, newer for me. I've used like the 5-year-old version of eSignal charts, and I'm trying to. I've had this new version downloaded for a while, and I always go back to the old one just because I'm more used to it. I don't even think it's possible, but if anybody knows, on my old version I could have 1, 5, 15, 30, 60 daily, all right here on this kind of toolbar. So I could just click on that number and it would bring up that interval of a chart. And on this one, I don't think I can do it. If anyone knows, please email me. I would love to be able to do that. I got really spoiled with that one-click interval change. All right, anyway, CNDO. Looks pretty good. I've drawn a line there. I like it over today's high, which was 454. Again, whenever I give you a number like that, it's assuming a fairly flat open, and I like it to set up a certain way intraday. So everything I do, I look at the daily, but then I depend on intraday before I'll take an entry. So I don't just automatically take these numbers. DGLY, again, I want to watch this one. It had a nice spike intraday. I actually lost on a trade on this one today. It was my only losing trade out of about 6. And the way I normally would have entered it would have been over this 30-minute range here. These are 15-minute candles. Over the first hour, it was in a nice tight range, and I already had it on bounce watch. So a break of the first hour's high made perfect sense. Only when I looked at it, it had traded like 20,000 shares on the day in the first hour, and I was just trading way too thin, and then all of a sudden it took off. I tried it on this second leg up right here, thinking it might go, and then it just didn't follow through and tailed off the rest of the day. All right, I'm going to have this on watch every day going forward, and hopefully I'll be ready to trade it and get some intraday news. It'll probably end up gapping instead, but I want to watch this one. The thesis I put forth to the members in the chat room, and I stand by it, is if I were a swing trader or an investor, I would start building a position down here. South Carolina is trying to push through the legislature to mandate all South Carolina police wear body cameras, right? Well, that's one of 50 states. This is my own personal belief. I think that is going to either become federally mandated or state by state, little by little. But I don't see DGLY going much lower from here. And as that starts to happen with the float in this thing, and as it starts to become apparent, and again, this is my thesis, I don't know, as it starts to become apparent to people that, okay, every police officer in the country is going to be mandated to wear a body camera, I think this ends up much higher, okay, over time. Now, is that going to start unfolding tomorrow or next year? I think it's going to start unfolding over the coming days and weeks. But, so does that mean, you want to buy it all right now? No, because I don't know. So, and since I'm a day trader, I just have it on watch every day. But I love the thesis. If I were an investor, I would start building a position. As always, my entire thesis could be wrong. I don't think it is after that whole South Carolina deal. But anyway, that's how I think. There's my prediction on tape. That's how I think it's going to play out. Tizu had a couple nice trades in this one today. I can show you the second one because it really, really worked well and never looked back. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Tizu, TZOO, very low float and gapped up, I think, on earnings, and then had a nice secondary float, and then got in this tight range. And so I called it, I said if this gets back over 1250, I think I called it 1253. The next candle was red, which was even better. Sellers came in. I called it 1253 with, I think, a 1233 stop, something like that. There's the trigger. Then we get the high of day break, and then we ran all the way up to and through the 200-day, which you can't see on here. Well, you might be able to if I go to the daily. Yeah, there's the 200-day. So, and that was my prediction. I said we should probably go to 13, and we might even see the 200-day at 1330. And lo and behold, it went even farther than that and closed pretty much at the highs of the day. So this was the entry right there, and it went up over $1, I think, over $1 on 20 cents risk. I want to have it back on watch now because if you pan out, look at that volume. That's really standout for this stock. It's a low float. I don't want to be a chaser tomorrow, but maybe this sells off at the open and then comes back and takes out the high of the day. So this one should be on on a chart somewhere on one of your monitors going forward if you're a day trader for the next couple weeks. All right, BLDR. Okay, this one, most people would look at this, really including myself, and say, hey, this sucker is really extended, but it just keeps getting bought. So it's interesting to me for a potential long. All right, today's high looks like 1392, and then the other day, 2 days ago, the high was 1405. So this one might just surprise you and rip higher. I mean, think about VLTC. I thought that was done going up, as did a lot of people, right here, right? Looked like it was over there, like when it looked like that, and it just keeps ripping. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility that BLDR continues to go. It's super extended in my opinion, but it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart, and I'll only trade it if it gives a decent setup. CLSN gaps up on huge volume 2 days ago. I should say yesterday, sold off all day, sold off again today. Pretty good setup for a possible bounce tomorrow after 2 days of selling and following that gap up. That is CLSN. ROSG gapped up today. We never caught a long entry in it because it didn't meet our parameters, okay? But sold off and almost filled the gap already. I want to watch that one for an upside move tomorrow. A lot of times, sellers get a hold of something like this, and then the very next day it rips. So it doesn't cost me anything to have ROSG on a chart. GBSN, just another day that this goes on bounce watch. Big move, pullback, another big move. 3 days lower now on continued lower volume. Great setup for a potential bounce tomorrow. And then lastly, BLFS. A big 2-day pop here, and now 2 days lower on declining volume. Don't know anything about this one, but tomorrow that's a pretty good setup for an upside move tomorrow. That's the list. I'll leave it at that. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.